Is Switzerland and the Swiss Alps on your travel to-do list? Today we're taking a look at a very special tour, Switzerland by train. Stay tuned. My special guest today is Kathy Schmauss, travel advisor with Cruise Holidays of Viera, located in Melbourne, Florida. Kathy has been meeting the needs of her clients in and around Melbourne and across the country for the last 25 plus years. Hi, Kathy. Welcome back to RTE-Travel Talk.
Glad to be back.
Great to have you with us again, Kathy. So, Kathy, one of the things that we don't do a lot of on this channel, but we certainly want to do more, is kind of land tours and vacations, because that's a big part of travel as well, right? And
Yes, it is.
I hear that you just returned from an amazing journey in Switzerland with Cosmos Tours. You did Scenic Switzerland by train, is that right?
Yes, this is a very unique tour that Cosmos does. You do 8 days, and it's a circle tour, Zurich to Zurich, going through the heart of the Alps, all by public train. Our tour guide was with us the whole way. She guided us on and off the trains to and from the hotels. Seamless. It was just an amazing tour.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about it. Like, tell us a little bit about the stops and why someone might want to take such an adventure like this.
I think someone would want to do this one because of the ease of travel. As much as we all love to cruise, there are certain parts of the world you can't get to on a cruise ship, Switzerland being one of them. By being in this guided tour and using the Swiss train system, which is phenomenal, you aren't trying to drive and find your way to your different stops. You've got an experienced guide getting you onto the train and guiding you through the stops, the cities that you go to.
Right.
It couldn't be easier. It just takes all the stress out of travel.
As you mentioned at the start, this is all on the public train service, right?
Yes. The Swiss
Yeah.
travel by train more than any other nation in the world. They're clean,
Yeah.
they're new. I mean, the bathrooms on these trains were spotless. It really was a great way to travel.
So how does that work, Kathy? Like, do you travel as a group? Do you have your own little area on board the train? How does that
Yeah,
work?
it's great because Cosmos puts us in first class on all the trains. So there's a master ticket,
Right.
and our guide is with us, and she provided us with the wonderful microphones and headsets so that if we're not standing next to her, we still can hear her
Mm-hmm.
and hear her guiding us which car to get on, what platform, and all of that. It just was wonderful having that and being connected to her the whole time that way. Again, first class, dome trains in a lot of them, but big windows, even if it's not a dome train. So your view out of the train is unimpeded at all. It's great. And comfy seats. It's just a really nice way to travel.
And that's what kind of makes this special, right? Because it's
Yes.
really about the views in the Swiss Alps from these trains.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've been to Alaska, I've been to Norway, I've seen glaciers. Switzerland is so unique, particularly two of the trains that we did are really known for their sightseeing. The Glacier Express and the Bernina Express take you straight through the heart of the Alps, and it's just alpine valley after valley with the chalets and alpine lakes and glaciers, and as they like to call them, the happy Swiss cows that spend the summer up in the alpine, which is Swiss law.
Yeah.
All the cows have to spend 4 months of the summer up into the higher elevation, into the mountains, free range,
Yeah.
eating the flowers and drinking the alpine lake water and producing happy milk that produces happy chocolate and happy cheese. Just pastoral, one right after the other. You just couldn't take enough photos because it was just so beautiful.
Tell me about the photos. Like, would you take most of your photos from inside the train, or is there like stops along the way that you have photo opportunities?
When you get to the overlap pass on the Glacier Express, there's a 15-20 minute stop because there's a gigantic glacier right there. and allows you to get off and take really good photos of the glacier. But you're not on the train the whole time.
Right.
So we were round trip Zurich. When we left Zurich on Monday, it was a 40-minute train ride to Lucerne. We had an overnight in Lucerne, and we got there at 9:30 in the morning, so we had all day that evening, and then we left the following morning. Lucerne was a lot of free time. They had optional excursions that you could book into, a beautiful boat ride on the lake there. They had a fun dinner show that night. Lucerne is small, but it's absolutely gorgeous, and you can walk it and do your own thing if that's what you want to do. There's plenty to see. My husband and I, we chose not to do the dinner show. We chose to go to a local restaurant for a three-course fondue dinner that was outstanding. We wanted to have an authentic fondue dinner, and it did not disappoint. It was fantastic. And, Cosmos is the budget brand for Globus.
Right.
And where Globus, you're traveling by motor coach and they pull right up to the hotel door, and the hotels that they pick are 4 and 5-star in the heart of whatever city you're in. Cosmos are more 3 and 4-star and a little further out. For instance, in Lucerne, it was a 20-minute walk from the train station to the hotel. A beautiful walk.
Right.
You're walking right along the lake and you see the beautiful covered bridge, and so it didn't feel like 20 minutes because you're looking at everything.
Yeah.
In the other stops that we stayed in, it was a minimum of a 20-minute walk from the train station. So you got to be in pretty good shape. You got to be able to walk a mile nonstop.
Right.
A lot of times on cobblestone streets. Once we got into elevations, Zermatt and St. Moritz, you got to handle walking uphill as well. But certainly doable. But something to be cognizant of if you've got mobility issues, if you're older and you've got breathing issues, because Zermatt and St. Moritz are at 9,000 feet. So that's thin air.
So the best advice, if you have any kind of mobility issue, to have a good conversation with your travel expert before booking something like this.
Absolutely.
Cosmos, as you said, is the value brand for
Yeah.
Globus. Would Globus offer something similar that might be a little, obviously a few more dollars, but a
They
step up?
they don't have anything like this.
Really?
This is a truly unique
Hmm.
where it's all Switzerland. Globus will include Switzerland in some longer tours.
Right.
They don't have anything that compares to this. And
Interesting.
because even though it's a 20-minute walk from the train station to the hotels, once you left Zurich, I feel like the Zurich hotel truly was a budget hotel. But once we got to Lucerne, and Lausanne and Zermatt and St. Moritz, those were 4-star. And the breakfast every day was very, very good. The locations were wonderful. And I felt more like I was on a Globus tour once we got out of Zurich. When we left Lucerne, on our way to Lausanne, we stopped in Interlaken.
Okay.
And Interlaken, they had an optional lunch to take the funicular cable car up to the top of Harderklum, and from there you could look out and see the Alps from there. And Interlaken had a very Zermatt feeling to it, just so alpine, so Swiss, just the architecture. The flowers were just so abundant. It was beautiful. The lunch was delicious up at the top. The views were fantastic. So that was another really nice stop, and everybody chose to participate in that optional lunch. And I think that's a smart thing to do because it's quite an experience. I
It's
think
it's
it
worth
was
the
worth it. And it was really well priced.
yeah.
It was only, I want to say, $35 a person. The optional things that they had at the beginning were very well priced. It was well worth it.
Oh yeah, for a ride to the top and lunch on the top of the mountain, it'd be well
Mhm.
worth it.
Zermatt was just fabulous. It was up on a hill, so we did have to walk a little uphill to get to it, and so quaint. And we did the Gornergrat cog train up to the top to see the glaciers and the Matterhorn, and that was included, and it was just phenomenal. Even though it is a Cosmos, there is a very strong feeling that it's more of a Globus tour because of its uniqueness in the hotels that they use. Because it was only 30 of us, we all got to know each other
Yeah.
because we were sitting on the train for hours, as particularly the Glacier Express is an all-day train ride from Zermatt to St. Moritz. And so we moved around and sat with other people and really enjoyed getting to know the other people in the group. And it was just delightful. It was really a lot of fun.
Fantastic, fantastic. You know, it's interesting when you talk about the hotel in Zurich as being kind of more utilitarian, for want of a better word. How did you find it for being? Well, I'll just come out and say we stayed in Zurich overnight pre-cruise one time, and
Mhm.
we went out and had a bite at the restaurant in the hotel, and it was really expensive. Is that a
Switzerland
thing?
is expensive,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. So,
across the board,
yeah.
everywhere. We had lunch in Zermatt, and a 10-inch pizza was 29 Swiss francs, and that was just cheese pizza.
Right.
So,
So you were in Zermatt, right?
yes, Zermatt. I think if I had the power to organize it, I would drop Lausanne and add a third night in Zermatt. Because it's just so beautiful. We get there in the afternoon and we had an included dinner that night at our hotel, which was delicious. And then the next day, our full day in Zermatt, we did the Gorner Grot, took the train up, and then you could walk down if you want. Believe it or not, it's not a bad walk. On a good day, a clear day, you could go all the way up to the top and walk down a few miles, which isn't bad because you're going downhill. There's one area where the black-faced sheep like to hang around. And if you walk down, those sheep will actually let you pet them and you can have a really fun sheep experience.
Is it
A lot of paragliding in that area. And I would have liked to have had another night and another day so that we could have gone and done some more hiking or something,
so? Is it
you
true
know.
that Zermatt is a car-free town?
They have these electric tuk-tuks that will take you from the train station to your hotels and stuff, but no gas powered. No, and they're like souped up golf carts.
Oh, fantastic!
So it's really cool. Yeah.
It must have really added to the charm of the place.
Definitely.
Yeah.
If you're a skier and you know what it like Breckenridge or some of the ski towns here, Park City, Utah, it is, I thought, much quainter than St. Moritz. St. Moritz is truly a ski town. It is not busy in the summertime. The rich and famous go there in the winter to ski and to be seen. All the shops in St. Moritz were the very high-end designer shops where Zermatt was much more local
Right.
and quaint. I love the feeling of Zermatt. St. Moritz was pretty, but I just felt like it was too high end, and I don't know, it just wasn't as quaint and just wasn't as pretty as Zermatt was.
Probably.
Zermatt was our favorite.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably fun to look at, but you're probably not going to shop in the shops. Like,
Exactly.
um,
I don't know a lot of the famous designers or whatever, but there was one shop where the tennis shoes were $600 or 600 Swiss francs, and it's that kind of stuff. And believe it or not, there were probably 3 or 4 major hotels that were not even open, that they only open in the winter.
for the ski season.
That
Yeah.
Yeah, that they are not a year-round hotel. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was beautiful. They hosted the early Olympics, the 1928 and 1948, and so there was a lot of Olympic history there. You could see the bobsled start and the skeleton luge track, separate track. So that was fun, and going into the museum and seeing all the old photos of the crazy people riding those sleds with no protection, and
Well, it sounds like the tour was extremely well organized, and you had quite a mix of guided sightseeing, free time, time to explore on your own. It sounds wonderful.
I think it's a really good blend of included guided things
Yeah.
and then enough time to do stuff on your own.
Yeah.
You got breakfast every morning. We had 3 dinners. The first night, we had a dinner at the hotel in Zurich, then we had dinner in Zermatt, and then we had dinner in St. Moritz. I love the fact that in Lucerne, we were pretty much on our own.
So, for our viewers who might be considering a tour, do you have any tips or advice you'd like to share?
If you do it in the summertime, and this particular tour runs almost year round.
Oh, does it?
So it was warm. Now, being a Floridian, the heat didn't bother us because we live in the heat, all year round. But I would say from Zurich until we got to Zermatt, it was mid to upper 80s with humidity. It was warm. Once we got to Zermatt and St. Moritz, the elevation took effect and the temps cooled off. So always pack in layers and be prepared that the first half is more down in the valleys and lower elevation and warmer.
Right.
And then the last two stops will give you a little cooler temperatures. And then, of course, if you do it later in the year, I did learn from our guide that September is actually the best month to see the Matterhorn and to see the Alps because the summer humidity is breaking, the skies are clearer, so the views are better and the temps are moderating. I'm actually going to be booking another group on this particular tour for September of 2026.
Well, that's obviously high praise for the tour if you're going to take even more of your guests.
It's so unique
Yeah.
and such an easy way to travel. If you want to see Switzerland, I don't think there's a better way to do it. It gives you all the highlights and at a really good price. And it's a great value and just a phenomenal experience.
Now, speaking of value, Kathy, the $64,000 question, what kind of dollar number are we looking at for a tour like this per
For
person?
this year,
Mm.
it was $3,069 per person.
And obviously that doesn't include your flights. You got to get there.
Does not include your airfare,
Yeah.
correct, or your
But
travel insurance.
but
And here's the
$3,000 a
other thing,
person is great.
it's very good, and that speaks to the value of Cosmos, that it was only $3,069 per person.
Fantastic. Well, Kathy, this is absolutely great information. Is there anything else you might like to add about this tour before we wrap up?
I think if Switzerland is on your bucket list, this is the way to see Switzerland. I truly do. The entire nation was created by glaciers,
Yeah.
and those valleys were just so stunning. And the people are so nice.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how good of an experience we all had. It was really, really good. So good, I'm going to go back and I'm going to take more people.
It really truly sounds like the trip of a lifetime if Switzerland's on your travel to-do
E-
list. So that's
Exactly.
marvelous, Kathy. So if folks wanted to reach out to you about this Cosmo tour or another vacation, what's the best way to contact?
They can always call or text me at 321-298-5829. My email is kathycruises03@gmail.com. I would love to help them. And if they're interested in doing this particular tour, September of 26, I'll have group space put together and would love for them to join me.
Perfect, perfect. I'll leave that contact information in the description for folks that might like to reach out. Now, as always, since my favorite part of being the host of this channel is I get to live vicariously through the travels of my guests. So I have to know, well, I already know that you're heading back to Switzerland, but what's next on your travel to-do list, Kathy?
My next trip is just a few weeks away. I am taking 32 clients on the brand new Royal Caribbean Utopia of the Seas. We've got a 4-day Bahama getaway, and we're really looking forward to that. In October, I'm taking a smaller group going back to Europe to do Avalon Waterways Danube River cruise in the middle of October.
So we'll have to have you back to regale us with your adventures on Utopia. How does that sound?
Would love to. Would love to.
All right, Kathy. Well, that's absolutely excellent. So, with that, I'm just going to wish you safe and happy travels on all your future cruises, tours, and adventures. May the wind always be at your back. And I hope to see you on the Lido deck of Utopia of the Seas sometime in the future.
Thanks for having me.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye. And that about wraps it up for today, folks. A very special thanks to my guest, Kathy Schmauss of Cruise Holidays of Viera. If you'd like to reach Kathy, I will leave her contact information in the description. If you'd like to reach out to us with a suggestion for a future video or a question, you can simply send a question to questions@realtravelexperts.com, visit our website, realtravelexperts.com, or simply leave a comment. We always respond. And as always, folks, if you enjoyed this content, a like, subscribe, share, and a ring of the bell is certainly appreciated and helps us to spread the word. So until next time, happy travels.